Hey YouTube, it's your favorite mega church cult survivor, Leah Lawyer, and I'm live. I'm also live on TikTok as we speak, and I'm going live on Instagram. So you may see me move the position. YouTube know Wagwan by now, chair. Do you know what I mean? I just do that intro for anybody that's just coming across me for the first time. Hey, welcome to the ghetto tube. Welcome to the ghetto tube side of the net. All right. I'm just a girl that was in a church cult for 18 years. And now I'm online and I expose them, chair. I gave the place 18 years of my life, so I'm on here and I'm exposing them. So what am I talking about today? This is part 2. If you haven't checked out the first part, please go on and check it out. I'm going to go live on Instagram now. So I'm live everywhere. Hey, Insta, it's your favorite mega church cult survivor Leah Lauder, and I'm live. I'm also live on YouTube and I'm live on TikTok. So if you don't get a good angle Instagram, I'm really sorry, but I love you all the same. All right, so welcome back to part 2. What is spiritual psychosis? These fake Christian influencers have been running around in these streets with my name in their mouth, saying that I'm talking about spiritual religious psychosis, and I don't know what I'm talking about. So I'm here to set the record all the way straight and explain and really break down involving, theoretical concepts, different methodologies, evidence-based, gold standard research. I don't think they'll know what the hell I'm talking about. But for the academics, because I know I have a lot of academics, doctors, psychiatrists, psychologists, sociologists, specialists, a lot of specialists that follow me, unlike those people that don't attend these settings because they're too woke. So I really do, pride myself in the fact that I have a lot of educated academics and professionals that listen to what I say and agree. They agree. So the gaslighting from the little 14 and 18 and early 20s church cult, heavily and severely indoctrinated cult members that come on and speak absolute automatic human fecal matter and tell me you're going to hell, yeah, if you don't repent. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't lose any sleep at night. Yeah. I'm here doing this and I love it here. I'm not going anywhere. And I don't care. And baby, let me tell you something. If I'm going to be in HERL, then your posters are going to be right there with me, baby. Right there with me. Don't ever get it twisted, sweetheart. All right. So let's get into it. If you haven't gone to the first one, please go and check it out because I've broken down what religious psychosis is. I can't even remember what we were up to, but I'm going to find the part. Bear with. Do you know what? Let me do a quick little recap because there might be some culturals that weren't here prior, just so you know what I'm on. Just so you know, it's the queen of the mega church cults and I don't tolerate nothing, no idiotness on here, okay? So spiritual psychosis is a state where spiritual religious experiences become so intense that they impair the individual's ability to distinguish reality from perceptions. So this can go into like hallucinations, emotional turmoil, stemming all from hyper-religiosity and religious content. So again, it's that information control. They're just divulging information that is mystical manipulation and human fecal matter, okay? It starts to rewire the brain. So then we've got religious delusions and psychotic disorders. And again, I'm not going to go through this. It's in part 1. So if you're interested, go on there. But they do get a lot of delusions. We were breaking down the difference between psychotic disorders and religious delusions. We then went into mystical psychosis. And, is this my other one? Yeah. Oh, yeah, we went into religious psychosis, hyper-religiosity from neurological conditions we discussed also. And then I broke down what is religious psychosis. We looked at the fact that it's not a formal diagnosis and it's not on the diagnostic chart, which is the DSM-5 TR. Okay, and that's where we are able to assess and look at different mental health diagnoses. So what I'm going to say to you, my loves, respectfully, little culturals, is that nobody needs to be a medical professional. All right, my darling, to be telling you that you have spiritual psychosis. All right, my lovely. It's not, nobody's attacking you because you believe in Jesus Christ. There's a lot of people on here, including myself, my darling, that believe in Christ as our Lord and Savior. The issue we have with you, sweetie, is that you don't understand that no means no in a spiritual context and to do with women, because we all know man them like Steps is in Karish church culture and he clearly doesn't understand that no means no, allegedly. All right. So when you're following people down the street, you're harassing people, you're popping up to people's address when they visited your cult once, you're doing all of that. That's religious psychosis, babe. Someone could believe in a giraffe, but it doesn't matter what you believe in. It is the behavior that we are looking at. So if you have somebody who's running around in these streets with nothing on and shouting in tongues, that is religious psychosis. They're probably from a church cult like RPF with exasperated, hyper-religious slurs and tones 24 hours a day. If you record their preaching, every other minute is demon, devil, witch, this and that. Okay, so that would exasperate someone's mental health and have them running around in these streets doing that. All right. We also looked at oh yeah, okay. I'll just go over this bit because I think this is where we at. Why high control church environments can perpetuate it. Oh yeah. We went through this bit, so I explored how church cults can perpetuate this kind of behavior and psychosis through undue influence. So high control groups. I didn't go through this, did I, guys? All right, you lot. I'm going to start from here, chair, because I had a little break, but I feel like I didn't get into this bit, guys. So I'm just gonna start off from here, chair. Guys, give me a second, please. All right. I'm just gonna go over this again, chair, because I'm not sure what I've covered and what I've not. Okay. So why high control environments can precipitate spiritual psychosis. So certain church cult practices create a perfect storm for vulnerable people and can destabilize otherwise healthy people to submit to undue influence through thought reform, through a thought reform program. So that's when they're changing the way that you think. But remember, they twist and manipulate scriptures through mystical manipulation, and they say things like you become a new creature, a new creation in Christ. So people will think that they're taking on like a new personality. It's like they're like Christ, but they're not. They've taken on the pseudo personality of the cult leader. And if you're coming from the streets or you're coming from the roads or whatever, and it's a Ghanaian middle-aged uncle, you know, who's wearing suits, and you start wearing suits, you're going to think your life has changed and you're like Christ, but you're not, because Christ was wearing sandals and a robe. Apparently that's what they wore back in the day. All right, my love. So if you were like Christ, you would have been wearing some sandals and a robe. Do you see how silly it sounds? This is why we're saying religious psychosis. Do you get it? Because you've got a guy who comes in with his whole autonomy and individuality, and then he starts going to Caris, and then he cuts off all his hair, and then he's wearing suits, and he's looking like lights are on and no one's home. Do you get why we're saying it, my love? Is it making sense? Okay. So undue influence. So this undue influence, we've looked at the Stephen Hassan model, where we've looked at negative and positive influence, healthy and unhealthy influence. And what the negative influence looks like is the control, it's the cloning, it's the lack of individuality and autonomy. It's the fact that everybody is acting, walking, talking the same. They're all dressing the same. They also use tools like isolation, Millau control, so separating you from the outside world, us versus them, black and white dogmatic thinking, according to the cult leaders' transcendent belief system, which is the overriding vision of the house. So it will mainly be win the lost at any cost, which can be hard to decipher, guys, because a lot of these Pentecostal spaces do this. But again, you have to look at the nature of the style of the preaching. Is it devil, demon every minute? Red flag. Is there no individuality of all the people? Red flag. Are they talking continuously about, you've got to, there's assessment frameworks and tools. And actually, what I will do is note this, Leah, for your book. I will create a framework so that you can identify if there are these red flags in these church cult spaces against like this framework, this checklist tool thing that I'll do up, so that it will be a bit easier for you. So make sure you cop the book, chair. The book will be out in January, chair. All right. Hey. So they do up a lot of loaded language, confession, surveillance and monitoring, snitching, micromanagement. So you get guys like you from the roads, like, you know, like boy of them could have them in the cell. They're not uttering a word. As soon as they can't come in these cots, they turn into a snitch. All right. Mystical manipulation. God told the pastor, the Lord spoke to me, I had a vision, prophetically speaking. So that's the loaded language. All right. Us versus them, framing methods documented in the cultic share. All right, so the us versus them method, which isolates you and makes you have dogmatic thinking against the world. So it's the demonization of the world. People become afraid, thinking everyone's the DEVIL. Thank you for the follows, guys. These tactics powerfully reshape meaning, making, and can push ordinary doubts, experiences into extreme paranoid or grandiose interpretations. So again, remember I told you about that woman that was in RPF. She came and how her introduction to her testimony was, praise the Lord, praise the Lord. Today I want to give a testimony. The woman gave a testimony about getting stuck in a lift. She gave a testimony in front of hundreds of people that the Lord had saved her life. Yeah, I agree. UCKG do need to be stopped. And, you know, everyone was like cheering her on, and they actually let that woman give that testimony. Do you understand? This is why people are looking from the outside saying something's not right here, because people get trapped in an elevator every single damn day, and they don't go in front of hundreds of people in a setting and say that God saved them. Do you see what I mean? So it's exasperated, you know, very normal, everyday, day-to-day life, like things that people do, like getting married, having a kid, getting a job, a promotion in a job, like it's everything's exasperated because they're selling invisible blessings and they're swindlers. So they need to make people feel like them being in these spaces for 24 hours a day, giving their tithe, giving everything, that they need to make them psychologically believe that it's all the cult. And since they've been coming, whatever, but so, and then they say, give all the glory to God. So that takes accountability off the person. But really, the cult tactic behind that is giving all the glory to the cult leader and the setting. So all people's confidence goes down, your self-esteem, because it's like this fake humility. Oh, all the glory goes to God. So no one's got any self-esteem. They don't love themselves. They don't, do you know what I mean? People become empty. All right. Because that's part of building people's confidence. Like when kids are young, you have to like clap for them and, you know, to build their confidence and make them feel like they're achievers. And it's the same thing that needs to be done, like, you know, in this setting as well, because we're new coming into the faith. We don't really know anything, but instead they break us down. Queen Ange in the car. And this is how they do it through very subtle cult tactics. So when you're running around, you know what, you don't need to get my name out of your mouth, because what you're doing is you're drawing me out. And like I keep telling you lot, this is a spiritual warfare. It's not diva, devil, demon. It doesn't exist. This is all, it's a self-sealing system. It's an illusion. They're magicians. All of the people that they're talking about, it's themselves, and it's the people in their jail. Do you understand? So when you're drawing me out, what you're doing is you're making me heighten the level of the collective consciousness. I'm raising and heightening the level of awareness of people. And this means that harder for you to recruit, harder for you to manipulate, harder for you to get people into your cult. Now I'm seeing Christians coming forward and saying there's no love in the church. Now they're all starting to have conversations about it themselves, because they can't deny it. It's the truth. What I'm saying is the truth. And it's gone too far because they're so proud, and they've got such big egos, these malignant narcissists, these cult leaders. They won't admit when they're wrong. They won't take accountability, and people are perishing. Young people are losing their damn minds, guys, especially in RPF. Guys, there's not everything I can say. There's not everything I can say. And with most, if not all of the people that have come out in RPF, they've all been anonymous. And a lot of the worst cases that I've ever heard, I can't share, because it would implicate the person, and there's it means fatal consequences for those people. Do you understand? I went to Caris once, and they wouldn't let me film. Yeah, Caris don't let you film. That's why I was saying, if Jesus was to return tomorrow and came to Caris and tried to film it, you know, they wouldn't let him film the service, which is actually about him, my love. Do you know what I mean? So it's so deep what's going on in here. What we need to do is we need to come out of the bubble of rubbish. We need to come out of this fake facade, this cloud of human fecal matter that they've created. And the young people need to start to wake up. All right, because before you know it, before you the flash of dawn, you're going to be 30 years old and rotting in these systems, chair. Look at your posters. Thanks for the follow, babe. I'm 39. I'm going to be 39 in January. Look at the women that are standing up there to come and speak to you every single. Why do they look like that? How you look on the outside is a direct manifestation, outcome, wherever, of how you feel internally. No one can tell me that. There's no way. And guys, these are truths that I've learned, because I'm disabled. I've got Addison's. I've got severe mental health. I've got CPTSD, and I still will try and fix myself up. It's not all the time, but I'll still try and make a little effort. So if these people are coming and they look a hot MESS and they know they're coming in front of thousands of people, that person is disassociated. They're not here. Lights are on, no one's at home. They don't care about what goes on their body because they're so hyper religious and they're so submerged and emerged in the hyper religious setting that they don't care about their presentation. It's not important because they're so spiritually psychotic that their whole focus is the speaking in tongues, the, going to heaven. Nothing else matters, not even the clothes on their back, how they present themselves. Like, that's how zoned out they are. A good example is RPF, Michelin, Austin's wife. All right. That's the example I'll use for that. Okay. Let's move on. These tactics powerfully reshape meaning and push ordinary doubts and experiences into extreme paranoid or grandiose interpretation. So that's why I was telling you that whole spiel. So very normal A, B, C, D things like marriage, having kids, whatever, they make it grandiose. I give, it's like giving all the glory to God. Like another example that I use is like a woman that's undergone IVF. She's had struggles conceiving. And she's been trying IVF treatment for maybe 10 years. She starts coming to this church called, there's a convention. She comes up for prayer. Then the next IVF session, it works. And now it's like, oh, the prophet, this and that. But you've been doing IVF for 10 years, babe. I think it was science. Because if there was no IVF, I don't think you'd get a chance. Would ya? So do you see that common sense it just goes out the window and it just becomes very hyper religious. You can't even have normal conversations with them. Okay. On Instagram, there's a survivor that's saying, they think that Christ can only be present spiritually, which results in distance from anything in the physical. Yeah, because it's like it's also the echo chamber as well. They're all saying the same things, and you've got to remember at the core of it that they have misinterpreted Christ. So it's not even a real, I don't know who they're worshiping in there, and I don't think Christ does. And it's okay, because when he comes back, they've been telling us this for thousands of years, every day for the past thousands of years, that Christ is going to come back, and that's also okay. But I hope for them that when Christ comes back, that whatever it is that they've been waiting on or whatever, that they find it. All right, so let's move on. Physiological destabilizers. So the physiological destabilizers, and this is a part of the spiritual psychosis. So severe sleep loss, common during revivals, all night prayers and retreats. And I have gone through this, but I'll tell you something. This is why we're saying you've got religious psychosis, babe, because you're in there 24 hours a day. We see you lot in RPF. It's 3 a.m. You're still in there. You're still doing up tongues, mind altered states, chair. Do you know what I'm saying? Your brain, you're getting brain damage just doing it, being up at that time, mind altered states. You haven't eaten. All right. Then we've got ritual trance, possession states, prolonged chanting. So this is where they go into a lot of dissociative states. And some people can be misdiagnosed or mismanaged as having deliverance when it's stress, trauma, or sometimes it could even be brief psychotic episodes. All right. Okay. And then we've got medical and neurological factors co-opted by spiritual framings. So for a minority, but I think they haven't been to these black churches yet, because then they'd be saying a majority, baby. And again, I would like to know, in terms of this research, what group this focused on, because I believe that this could be an actual disproportionate view of this, because if they were just looking at a church in Wales and not, maybe a lot of these church cults that we get in, Southeast London, in Old Kent Road and Camberwell and Peckham, they might find that actually the temporal lobe thing is actually a lot more common than one thinks, because they've got a lot more, spiritualist, occult, Verdun-like practices that they be doing up in there. How do I know? Verdun practitioners have come on and whistleblowed, because Verdun and all that is actually a closed practice, but a survivor came to show us Wagwan, just so the porters could get exposed. So I love that chair. Thanks for the follow, baby. So conditions like temporal lobe epilepsy are associated with hyperreligiosity and intense numinous experience. So that's like the shaking the manifestation, all of that, we call it temporal lobe epilepsy, all right, or a brief moment of psychosis, all right. So they label these as anointing and possession instead of people needing medical attention, all right. All right, so how does this happen? Let's look at the psychology behind this. So stress and vulnerability, I looked at, genetic, biological things that we need to take into consideration. So if somebody's coming from a histrionic background of, all of their family members having mental health or schizophrenia or a psychosis, and then they come into a setting like this, it's going to exasperate it, okay? And then also it's like, they call it here, a dopamine linked salience, okay? So it's like them getting this dopamine hit. It's like the environment becomes like a drug, okay? And then they've got these cognitive biases known in psychosis. And it's when they have this prophecy culture, exasperated talks around demonology and warfare preaching, and it provides a ready-made delusional thematic environment where people are getting labeled as Jezebel spirits. There's persecution, public humiliation rituals that happen there, the breaking down of people, the grandiose ideologies of self that the cult leader has, which in turn is a supply that he needs to feed his egotistical beast that was within him, okay? Then we've got disassociation and trances, and that's the state that they're in 24 hours a day. So that's why it's like lights are on and no one's home. They're totally zoned out. All right. Yeah, I need deliverance in the name of Jesus. Take it away. Take it. Ah! Is that good enough for you? Did I get deliverance? Did you like it? Am I delivered now? Okay, I can come off now. All right. So now we're going to look at, guys, how to identify religious or spiritual psychosis in church cult contexts. Do I have mods on my live? No, I'm not going to accept you on my live, unfortunately. This is very important what I'm talking about, and actually people are going to be set free, okay, because this is cult psycho ed. I'm deprogramming people, my love. So I'm going to start again. How to identify religious spiritual psychosis in church cult contexts, okay. So we're going to be looking at the red flags that clinicians use translated into church language. So 1 or 2 can occur in healthy spirituality. It's the pattern, rigidity, and impairment that matter. Okay. So again, remember I said to you, it's not that they're praying, that's fine. But it's when they're, locking themselves away for 10 days and they're not eating and they're not sleeping. And then they start running around in the town speaking in tongues. And, we're seeing delusions. We're seeing them being delirious. We're seeing hyper religiosity. They've gone into full blown psychosis. All right. So let's look at the red flags to help us identify spiritual psychosis. And here we go. Let me put my charger. I've got to put my charger on, because now I've been delivered. The spirit of deliverance is flowing in the place. Yeah. All right. So let's get into the red flags to help us identify spiritual psychosis. So reality testing and flexibility. So when there's a zero tolerance for alternative explanations, beliefs harden after contradictions or failed prophecies. So, for example, a really good cult to look at is Jehovah's Witness. Like the leader of it or whatever has prophesied so many times that the world is ending, this is happening, that's happening. Like since the 90s, they've been saying that. But still, we see people standing outside, with their book stand saying nothing to anybody. All right. So you can see, and with these type of larger religious cults that we see, like Catholicism, like JW, etc., what we see is that these religious institutions have survived over time through first, second, third, fourth gen members. So it's in our epigenetics, even lavery. That's why we're still holding on to these religious organizations and truths, because then it would mean that we'd have to face the reality of what's really happened. Yeah. So claims are idiosyncratic. So that's just idiocracy. All right. So again, remember that because the cult leader is a malignant narcissist, he's psychotic, all right? He's getting delusions and hallucinations and labeling it and covering it with hyper religiosity through God spoke to me. Okay, so then when people come out and they're speaking to you and they're like, do you know my cult leader, David Andrew, Dag Mills, he's this big prophet. You're looking at, no, sorry, I haven't heard who the hell you're talking about, because that's the idiocracy. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because they believe that their cult leader is this big time prophet that everybody knows about, and he's changing all these souls and winning millions of lives and whatever. But when they go out and ask about people, people don't know who they are. That's the idiosyncratic behavior that they display. Okay, and also the us versus them, the archaic like mindsets and views that they have. So it just makes girls look DUMB, pick-me's, uneducated, and they could be doctors. But remember, education is different from knowledge. For lack of knowledge, my people perish. It doesn't say for lack of education, because a woman can have all the education in the world and marry a dusty and get taken for everything that she's got. Whereas a little blonde one who's 26 years old, they think she's an idiot and just like a little blonde bimbo, she goes and marries a rich guy and she's set for the rest of her life. So it's not about that, man. Knowledge is different to education. Clock that. All right? Because what I've got is that the mixture I've got is just too powerful. Because their brain unalived in there, and anyone that they've got from that's like an academic, they're not going to have academics in there, but anyone with any type of education background, they won't be able to unpack or challenge what I'm saying to a certain extent, because listening to what I'm saying and unpacking it involves them like a mirror shining back at them. It's truths that they can't handle because they can't face that reality. That's why I've got one up on them, because they haven't faced their shadow self. This is just all projection and insecurity. So that's why they're calling me witch and HATE me and whatever, because I'm coming to burst their bubble. Uh-oh, you're in trouble. Leah comes along and she bursts your bubble. Uh-oh, you're in trouble. All right. So perception and control, voices or visions issuing commands. So things like cutting off family members, giving seed offerings like £1,000 or £200 or raising £1,000 in a week and all of that. And they're like, you know, young people like, you know, 20 years old, 19, whatever, you know, it's just absolute that there's no perception of reality. The reality becomes distorted. All right. And then they start to have like hallucinations, saying that they're seeing into different realms. So God, angel, demons, etc. Again, that's just because of the rewiring of the brain. Okay. And some people are coming in with pre-existing medical issues like bipolar, BPD, because they don't believe that these are like, you know, medical things. They believe they're demons. So people are coming off medication. Remember, we've had Hannah coming in here saying that she came off her meds. And she started getting paranoid, started hearing voices. It's crazy, guys. Also, when we see passivity. So that passivity is like when they just shut down. They don't want to hear anything. If you're not agreeing with them, if you're not all hell, Dag Mills, all hell, whoever the cult leader is, whatever, you challenge what they say. It's just completely passive, complete shutdown. The thought blockers start to go off in their head through the indoctrination. War, fight, attack, enemy of the state. That's how they are. Then we've got functioning and risk. Marked impairment, finances wrecked by compulsive seed sowing. So risky behavior. So they're not going to see it as risky behavior, but it is. Because if they've got £100 to their name and they've got 2 kids at home, and then they're feeling like the conviction or whatever, because remember, they're hyper religious. They've got these people like severely indoctrinated, because it's like you'll feel like a burning even. It's crazy the sensations you get in there to give, but it's all psychological, man. It's all psychological. It's all psychosis. So she goes and gives it, and then she doesn't know how she's going to feed her kids. Compulsive seed sowing. Job loss due to waiting on God or serving the man of God. Guys, I've known people, I gave up my dream. I gave up my job. I gave up singing in the world. I gave up everything that I achieved of X Factor. Do you understand what I'm saying? To sing for the Lord or be in the world, to be in the church. So a lot of people give up their dreams, give up their acting, give up some jobs which are seen as worldly, or not you're not supposed to do them, or on the depth of the devil or whatever in the church. A lot of people have lost This is the spiritual psychosis, the religious psychosis. But remember, I was already in psychosis. I weren't in my right frame of mind because my boyfriend had unalived in police custody. So it exasperated it. Then all of the hyper religious stuff made me make a decision to give up a thriving career that could have made me set for life because a friggin' mog told me that it's devil and evil, and I can't sing for the Lord and sing for the world. And now when I see what they're doing up in this space, it's worse than what I was doing on the X Factor back in 2007. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that? Listen, Gia, I've only just started with these MFers, Gia. They ain't seen nothing yet, mate. And I'm determined to heal. I'm determined to heal. I'm determined to be in my right frame of mind as much as I can possibly so that I can expose them up, man, because I'm the only one that can do it this way. All right. And then we've got neglect for children. So they'll just be for ministry and for meeting. So they'll just give their child to anyone. Even if you've been in that cult, thank you, my love. Even if you've been in that cult for like 10 years and you've known the person. Oh, you lot, I need to take this call. 1 second. Hello. Oh, hello. Hi. Okay. What can you give me a call back at about 2 o'clock? Is that okay? I'm so sorry, guys. I just had a really important conversation that I had to take. But I've asked them to call me back at 2. So that gives us about 40 minutes, which is perfect. Sorry, guys, for the interruption. Oh, look, there's a survivor on Instagram that said that they're allergic to some scriptures. Yeah, they don't use them because it tells on themselves, my love. All right, so there's a lot of neglect for children for the ministry, guys. They don't even go to like school meetings. They miss like their first nativity play. Do you know, it's so sad because when I stopped going to the cult, like my kids, they're spoiled now though with the time that I invest in them, which I love. I love it because it went from nothing to like just full on. And it's like everything they want me to be at. And I'm there and I'm so happy, you know, and it makes them so happy. It helps with their confidence to feel loved. So a lot of kids have just felt neglected, like their mums haven't been there for them. So that's why a lot of people have resentment, especially like the Mogs kids. That's why a lot of the men of God and the PKs, like the pastors' kids, yeah, they end up being the worst. Like they use the mega you know what and the faith for their advantage because they actually, it's projection. They actually have resentment. So they just go in there and play the role, talk the talk, and then so that they can get the money. But they don't actually believe in it or care about it. All right. And then we've got escalating suspiciousness, so paranoia towards all outsiders. And then there's also paranoia within the setting, because remember, like in church cults like mine, Dag runs it like a war. So he talks about loyalty and disloyalty in the 5th column and enemies within. And Bishop Richard has spies. Oh, guys, it's so wild in there. These people are not well. You lot, man, if you're listening to me right now and you're in these settings and you know something's not up, look, these guys ain't well. You lot need to leave, man. Don't you see God is trying to tell you lot? Chill. Sleep collapse from relentless services. Guys, my sleep to this day is messed up. My sleep to this day, because I never used to sleep. That's why I can actually function on very little or no sleep because of doing that for 18 years of my life. Vigils or warfare prayers, camps. So when they take them away from 3 days and they're shut off from all the outside world, they don't use their phones. These have also been known to be huge psychosis triggers. Okay, and a lot of young people have gone into psychosis. We also learn in the last live. Is that Paris calling? We also learned in the last live that you can get temporal psychosis. So you can have psychosis briefly for a day, for a couple of hours, whatever. So that's what we see. But they've labeled it as manifestations and blessings and deliverances, unfortunately. So they can't see when someone is unwell and needing medical treatment. Girl, I was speaking about you in my live. I started crying. I was like, I'm just so happy that there's people like Paris who have moved to the Caribbean and they're living their dream and they're thriving and her hair's so beautiful and her skin. Girl, I went into a whole cry out about you the other day, girl. Yeah. I'll send you the live. I'll send you the live. I think it was the one I did yesterday, girl. Thanks for the gifts, guys. I really appreciate you. Group level clues. This is another red flag to know if you're in a spirit, if people are spiritual psychosis, or to let you know if someone is displaying spiritually psychotic symptoms, and it could be you watching right now. Group level clues. Rapid spread of a specific grandiose persecutory to close lieutenants, classic induced delusion pattern. Yeah. So again, you remember I said to you, like, every cult leader has a claim to fame story. Thank you, Paris. You know, like, oh, they heard the Lord's voice, like they had a dream, they saw Christ. Their heart stopped for 24 hours and Christ took them to heaven or hell. You know, all of that. So it creates this induced delusional psychosis bubble. All right. Yeah. Strong undue influence markers. So this is the isolation, information control, mystical manipulation, confession, surveillance monitoring, greed cycles. These tactics amplify and maintain psychotic interpretations. All right. So this is all of them, you know, so the mystical manipulation, the prophecies, the miracles, that's why it's prophetic heavy. There's a lot of fear, curses. Again, that's the information control, the fear-based programming, so that they maintain control over people because it's a supply for the narcissist. It's a narcissistic injury, and it's great ego bruising when people like leave them, and it exasperates the internalized insecurities that are hidden deep within and come out in different ways, like projection, abusing people, going on narcissistic rants, talking about themselves. You'll find that the most narcissistic ones, like Dagwood Mills, it's like absolutely everything has to revolve around him. He's like a baby. Like everybody needs to, like, your energy is so drained around Dag because you've got to make him feel so glorified, like an actual god. It's crazy. So do you see how these maintain the psychotic interpretations, guys? Because of the again, the miracles, the healings, like the seed offerings, the testimonies, the church cult promo. The testimonies is a huge one. That is a huge, strong, undue influence marker, all right? Because people are like, wow, she got a baby and she got a home, and oh my gosh, she was in jail. Like, look at me. Like, I just want to change my life. Oh my God, she was from the hood just like me. She's like going out with GMs. Now look at her. She's happily married with her baby. Like, it's all that. Okay, so differentiating healthy spirituality, crises of faith, and psychosis. Let's get it. Seeing as they want to have my name in their mouth and what I'm talking about, baby. I'm not even doing videos to respond to you and putting you lot in it and whatever. I'm just putting my little indirects, like what I'm doing now, behind me, because I'm too educated. Do you know what I mean? I'm not going to be able to even have a proper debate. So what I'm going to tell y'all is, if you're coming across this and you're seeing this, you're welcome. All right. I'm not one to play with. Yeah. Your mogs are having you running around in these streets looking spiritually psychotic and delusional. The only people that agree with you are the people who are also in psychosis within that whole group that you're in, the entire thing. All right, that you're all in psychosis. All right, my love. So that's why you're running around in these streets believing a guy who is a self-proclaimed prophet over somebody who has actual education and like, I have facts. I'm talking about facts on facts. They have infiltrated your mind to see me like a DRUG. So when you're going around and you're telling people, oh, everyone knows I've got mental health, babe. Mental health doesn't mean that you can't be brilliant. Mental health doesn't mean that you can't be a genius. Mental health doesn't mean that you can't. Do you know what I'm saying? Albert Einstein, he had mental health. The most gifted people had mental health. Don't ever get it twisted, my love. So because you're believing in their lies, you're then going around and telling people, oh, she's this, she's that, she's stupid, she's this, she's a druggie. And I'm talking about professor level theoretical concepts. Like I'm talking about things that, do you understand? That's why you're looking crazy in these streets. Do you get it? Because you're just listening to a mog that don't know nothing. And they're lying to you to save their own skin and damage control, because they don't want people to leave. And that's all it's about. There's no accountability. So they can't even sit down and listen to what I'm saying and say, oh, do you know what? you know, maybe I don't agree with everything she's saying, but there's a lot that we need to be accountable for, and that we need to, do you know what I mean, address. And they won't even do that. They won't even do that. Some of them come as indirect trolls, my love. So when they say things like that, I just ignore it, because you're saying there's not an issue, but are you on here advocating for people with mental health? Are you recording yourself going into the mental health services, babe? Are you talking about your mental health business online so people can heal from it? I don't think so. So I don't care what you've got to say, to be honest. Do you know what I mean? I don't really care, my love. Do you know what I mean? I don't ramp on here, chair. I'm not the blood clot one. All right. Okay. Yeah, I do need mods. I don't have mods on here, but there's no one on here that I know enough to have as a mod, because I made a guy who came in, and so I don't just make people mods like that. I just ignore the chat. No, I don't mod randoms. And Lucia, don't feel like you need to come on here and all that, my love, because I know that you're doing up what you're doing up right now, my love. So it's cool. I got it under control. I'm not even trying to Paris, I'm gonna make you, my love. I'm not even trying. It's not like it's not that type of live. This is a deprogramming, deconstruct. I'm not even watching the comments. You get it? I'm not even watching it, Jay. I'm here to do one thing: deconstruct and deprogram survivors. I'm here for a collective. I'm not here for cult trolls wanting to come in. They're psychotic. They're in psychosis, chair. Yeah, Mitz Fit, I need to see you on her a little bit more, my love. Because people come in and they infiltrate, trying to like mess up the live and everything. Because the truths that I'm spitting, yeah, it's like over 20 years worth of like, it's my whole life. It's my whole life experiences. It's my education. It's everything. They think I'm just sitting on TikTok because I'm beautiful and I look good. And I've got like a, it's like, you know, that TV gold personality. I'm naturally funny. I'm a vibe. So they've just seen little clips and whatever. Do you know what I mean? And they make their own judgments, and then they got their pastors having meetings about me and throwing indirects and talking about me and calling me a witch, etc. So it's the same hyper religiosity, DUMB on education. So then when they come out, they also look delusional AF. All right. My mum went to the UCKG for a number of years, and her mental health has been messed up since 2002. I'm so sorry to hear that, my love. My heart goes out to you. It's awful. Oh, I'm so sorry, babe. Oh my God, that just hit me so deep. Can I ask you a question though? This is just like me asking as a mum, and you know, like when my kids get older and stuff, because I don't know how things are going to go, and I don't think my mental health's ever going to be the same, Misfit, if I'm honest. And just be real with me, like, do you have empathy for your mum? Like, do you see it as, you know, like she was a victim in the church and in this cult, and you know, like it was the environment? Have you learned to kind of process that as an adult, or do you still see it as like, do you get what I'm trying to say? Oh, I love this collective so much, and I've gotten some really peaceful, calming music, guys. I hope that this is helping. You know, music like this just helps to regulate the nervous system as well, as we are going to dive into this a little bit deeper. 100% we were all victims, all right? Because I just thought my kids were going to grow up to see me like a bum, you know, especially my 11-year-old, because she's getting older. Thank you, Misfit. That means a lot to me. I love this space because we're so open and honest, and I just feel like I don't even want to cry because it's just been so emotional for me. Thanks for the follow. You know, just unpacking it all. And, you know, I don't know if my mental health's ever going to be the same. You know, like this past like 2 weeks, I've been like bedbound ill, just like in my bed, and I've hated my kids seeing me like that. But then I've got to remember, you know, it could be a lot worse. I could still be in the cult with them around PDFs and Preds, and you know, I haven't. Oh, 1 second, guys. I think that's the delivery. Sorry, guys. 1 moment. 1 sec. I'm coming, guys. I think that's my little girl's school bag. I'm so happy. My daughter's school bags come, and I'm just looking at the size, and it's a good size. I just got her, you know that just the classic Nike, just the classic Nike. Oh, but I'm so glad it's come. All right, I hear you. It's hard. I have a little resentment towards my mum for bringing me up in the church too so strict. Yeah, it's a lot, man. The kids, you lot don't have no freedom, and then it messes up your identity as well. Thanks for sharing that, Paris, because I do beat myself up a lot. Oh, Ms. Fitz said just focus on my healing. Oh, I don't even want to cry, because it's almost like the collective is so healing for me, because I've got kids. Guys, what we've managed to create here is really, really special. And I honestly, I don't know what I would have done if I didn't have this space, because everyone kind of talks about it from a lens of like you guys coming on and having this space, but it really is a space for me as well. We went through absolute hell, babe. People would just never understand our pain. Oh, chair. Thank you, Misfit. I think I need to be a bit more kinder to myself as well, but I just so much pressure on myself. You know, like, I want my girls to have like a better life, and you know, I just feel like I had to overcome in my psyche, like all of my worst fears that had come upon me had happened. Oh, love you too, Faith. And you, James, thank you. To overcome my worst fears, guys. And I can't believe I did it, like, and I'm still standing on my own 2 feet, like, with everything that I've been through and I'm going through now. Yeah, I would as well, babe. I'm sad, G, because my boyfriend got unalived in 2007 in police custody. And I was 19, and the church court recruited me. And I thought it was a church, so I started going. It turned out to be a cult, and like, I was just ABUSED, and I had control over my life. When I came out, I found out that women were getting raped and essayed and stuff in there. So it's been quite a year. Like, it's coming to, I don't know, a year and a half now, but it's a lot. I think I needed to let out a lot. These cults need to be fully investigated. Yeah, you are an inspiration to your daughters. Oh, Paris, don't, man. If I had the peas, I would have come to see you in Anguilla already. You know that, girl. Oh, don't. Oh, Christine, man. This is all we've got. People don't understand, man, because you can't trust people. That's the thing. Like, you should see me and the survivor are just trying to have, you know, like, no, I can't even have conversations. I can't have long conversations with people. We're trying to like form a relationship, and it's really weird because but it's real though, because a lot of us don't know how to form relationships outside of trauma bond. Oh, you're in the UK until next week. Oh yeah, girl, we gotta meet up then. I don't have the kids this week. Paris, call me because you know me with my chronic fatigue, but you, chair, I would drag myself to come and see you because you're not here all the time. So message me, baby. Similar journey for me too, hon. I love you, sis. Oh, I love you too, babe. I'm just glad that we've got a space, because I think that a lot more people would have just given up, guys. I'm not gonna lie, because it's so hard when you come out, chair. And it's just been a cycle, do you know what I mean? Like, people just coming out and then they're just living with these like undiagnosed. It's the religious trauma. Oh my gosh, guys, the tissue's wet and it's sticking onto my, it's a bit damp, you know, from my water. I think we needed just a little, because this topic is triggering as well, that I'm talking about. Do you know what I mean? Like, it is very triggering, and You know, I think deep within my psyche, like as I'm delivering this, I'm deprogramming and deconstructing myself as well. So there is like a bit of a purging, because it doesn't feel nice, guys. I won't lie to you, but isn't it better than being Delulu? Like, you know what I mean? Like being like Nissy, you know, with a husband outside in these streets saying your breath stinks and that. Ain't it better than that though? All right. Okay. Oh my gosh, you lot, I don't know where I was. Okay, so we're on the red flags. Oh, this one will be a good one. Okay, so I think we ended on the reality testing, didn't we? Hallucinations. Oh, okay. Perception. Did we do perception and control? Oh yeah, job loss due to, we've done that one. Group level cues. Okay, we were on differentiating healthy spirituality, crises of faith, and psychosis. So healthy, typical faith groups, it looks like culturally shared values, allows metaphor, allows conversation. Thank you so much, my love. Humility, doubt, doesn't coerce, harm, or control, flexible across evidence. All right. So again, you know, if we refer to the Stephen Hassan influence continuum, we can see there that healthy leadership and influence looks like autonomy, your creativity and your gifts being, you know, flourished, people having, you know, their own free thought and, you know, are able to make their own decisions, etc. Religious or spiritual problems, not a disorder. So there's also, okay, all right, so there's problems, but it's not a disorder. I don't even know what they're trying to say here. Oh yeah, it is that. But why has ChatGPT written it in this sentence? The sentences aren't even structured, chair. Oh, okay, all right. So again, one of the ways that you can identify the red flags for spiritual psychosis is that it's not a medical condition. So it's something that happens due to the hyper-religious environment. That's what we need to remember. So it's distress around faith, deconstruction, conversion, grief with God. So without loss of reality testing, recognized explicitity in DSM so people can get help without being pathologized. Wait, let me read this because they've written this so crazy. Oh, okay. So what it's saying here is, remember, it's not in the diagnostic manual charts, but remember, there's a section in there where they look at faith in crises, like, you know, like religious delusions, etc. So there is a part there that includes it. But I think the reason why they've refrained from making it, you know, a mental health condition and within the diagnostic charts is because it's so hard to differentiate between someone that's in religious psychosis and someone that's just like a Christian. That's the reality, guys. That's what it's saying in academic terms. Yeah, they don't want to pathologize. They don't want to pathologize, which is dehumanize, you know, make it look like a disease, the religion. And to be honest, guys, I do believe it's because historically that they've had a lot of power, and that's why people haven't been able to like say it as it is. But I think now, as they're losing power, like, you know, it's more like they can't really like information control with it. We're developing as a society, because anything with the spirit of fear, anything where there's fear, it's not from God. Because I was listening to this guy who was doing this chat GPT thing, and he was saying something about Christianity being the only, and then it started getting into fear, and I was like, oh gosh, no, this definitely isn't from God, because I wouldn't be here, I wouldn't be feeling fear. But you know, you have to be seasoned. It's like through walking with God, like when you get to know God and things like that, but like you'll start to understand things like and get cues like that. But when you're a baby Christian, you just don't stand a chance, man. You just don't stand a chance when you're a baby Christian, and then you're young as well. Ciao. So psychosis with religious content. Reality testing is compromised. Beliefs are rigid, idiosyncratic, and impairing. Perception thoughts are altered hallucinations, thought control, often aggravated by sleep loss, coercion, and trauma. So do you see that the environments, that's all it's about: sleep deprivation, coercive control, trauma. The trauma is the setting. It's when the pastor's shouting at you through a mic and friggin' speakers, curses, this and that, incantations. The whole environment is rigid. it's so low vibrational, it's so draining. And that's why they've got people always on the move, so that they don't realize or notice how drained, how much the environment's washing them up. It's so sad. All right, so let's look at now why survivors' accounts matter, why speaking your truth and exposing these groups is important, and why invalidation is wrong. So this is why I'm doing this content, because there's no way you're going to invalidate us and try and, you know, have one gal in the middle of the street in Brighton, you know, rolling our eyes back and shaking, trying to make us look like we can't chat, or what we're saying ain't right out here. Oh baby, I'll just go into PhD level. Do you know what I mean? I will sit here and struggle to read words and sit here and work things out with the collective. I don't care. Because if the information's out there and it's giving us a explanation for this human fecal matter, then we're going to talk about it. Thanks, my love. Okay. I'm so sorry, guys. I've just missed the whole part, chair. All right. So why survivors' accounts matter and why invalidation is wrong. The research record shows that religious themes frequently appear in delusions. It's not anti-Christian to name this. It's clinically standard. All right. So it's almost just given that the whole lot's delusional. Do you know? Because remember, I said to you, it's a lot of witchcraft, guys, and spell work, incantations. It's a lot of dark psychology that they're doing up. Do you understand? So now there's been people that have educated themselves to these levels and started to, do you understand what I'm saying? Like, call the things out, give them name. Like, the person who's written this, they know what they're saying, Chair. I can read in between the lines because this is an academic that's been through some stuff, Chair. Woo! Blood clot. Guys, in 10 to 20 years, they're going to be cooked. That's the new word that the young people taught me. They're going to be cooked, Chair. Ooh. Oh, sorry, guys. Yeah. Whew. Yeah, they're going to be cooked. Because then all the people that have been defending them, they would have left the cult, probably like had a baby out of wedlock. Hitched up somewhere with their baby daddy. All these gal having chat for me. Babe, in 5 years, I would have progressed in what I'm doing. You'll see me elevated. You'll see me out there. You're going to be sitting in, do you know what I mean? Either watching me somewhere with your, with the husband that I told you were going to get. You know, them ones. Or you're going to be sitting there with, you know, struggling to form a relationship with what you've given birth to, because the cult has, you know, programmed you to believe that, you know, what you have, which is a blessing from God, is a sin. So you'll probably have postnatal depression as well. A lot of women have that, you know, when they don't have kids like the way that the cult says they should have them. So baby girl, when you're there coming and, you know, your trolls are coming and having some chat, that's why I'm just sitting here pretty, baby, because I've done it. I've worn the t-shirt. I've had a lovely wedding. You lot have seen the pictures. I just put them pictures up to show everybody that I've had better weddings than people who think they have some chat for me inside of the cult system. Now I've had it all, babe. That's why I don't desire a man. I've had a lot of the guy that I divorced, a lot of gal them would be absolute pick-me's, doing backflips, jumping out of windows to get a man like that. Do you know what I mean? That I gave up. So I'm good, babe. Do you know what I mean? I'm just a boss. I'm just a hot gal outside in these streets. I'm not a pick-me. Never been a beggar day in my life. All right. So let's get on to the point, guys, because I have drifted a bit. You know what I'm like. Ugh. All right. Did we do this bit? Yeah. So we are on. How did we get to the quick practical? Okay. All right. So why survivors' accounts matter. The research record shows that religious themes, okay, I've said this bit, frequently appear in delusions. It's not anti-Christian to name this. It's clinically standard. All right. So that's just a clinical truth. Yeah. That when they get into some psychosis, it's always got a religious theme to it. Hey, sis. Cultic tactics of coercive control and mystical manipulation are recognized mechanisms of harm. All right, so the mystical manipulation, coercive control, all of the tactics that fall under what shape cults. And that's why I said to you, get to know what the cult characteristics are, get to know what the cult tactics are, so that you can differentiate between a healthy and an unhealthy setting. All right. Survivors' reports align with established models of undue influence, not bitterness or rebellion. I'm going to take it again. Okay. Survivors' reports, accounts, etc., align with established models of undue influence. All right, my love, that's the models, the theoretical concepts, the psychology, the neuroscience, all of that. All right, my loves, it's not bitterness or rebellion, but your devil, demon, liar is telling rebellion, bitterness, they cannot take instruction. You know what I mean? That's what you're doing up. What we're doing up here is we're doing up psychology, we're doing up facts, we're doing up science. We're sitting here and having, a discussion. All right, my love. Okay, many experiences labeled demonic in these settings map onto known sleep deprivation effects or dissociative trance phenomenon. Explains the group. All right, I'm going to take this again. Many experiences labeled demonic in these settings map onto known sleep deprivation effects or dissociative trance phenomenon. So again, guys, because of the exasperated hyper-religious environment, sleep deprivation, they're always in trance-like states, the curses, all of that, these experiences are getting labeled as demonic rather than dissociative states, or like if they can't get to sleep, or if they're there was another thing that I wanted to say as well. Oh yeah, they also make us listen to the messages throughout the night. Okay, so it's getting embedded into our psyche. Sorry guys, I'm disassociating a little bit. So essentially what they're doing is, there are experiences that people have, or there's meanings for these things like sleep deprivation, dissociative trances, etc., but they're getting labeled as demonic or manifestations or hearing from God, etc. Okay. All right, and then here ChatGPT has given us a quick practical screening so that you can use to help to identify this. Oh, thanks, Ms. Kit. I've done a lot of therapy. I'm with the mental health services because mine is I need a bit more than therapy, chair. All right. So and guys, I'm going to put this out there for you guys as a working framework tool for you to see, to measure up against the church cults. Hello, I don't know you. How can you come on someone's live and request, brother? I don't know you from Anwar. What are you coming on here to say? All right. So let's look at what this checklist is. All right. So if 3+ items are present and there's distress/impairment, it's time for a professional assessment. All right. So this will be really good for family members, maybe people post-cult exit, when they first come out, because a lot of people do go into psychosis. Sometimes it's for a brief moment. They might get sectioned for a week or something just to get them, they might need to be put on meds, or they might just need to come out of that environment, where because the reality is distorted. Do you understand what I'm saying? So they need to be brought into an environment where they can be in the present moment and understand and make sense of what's going on. As a preacher, a lot of these issues are caused by people who teach pseudo spiritualism and emotionalism. It also stems from your canon Bible that was put together by Lagan and Stepan Chichiman, a Chichiman called King James, my love, DC preacher. Yeah, so I appreciate what you're saying, my love. But until we start to look at pseudo spiritualism and emotionalism, we might need to look at the fact that the canon is infallible. Because that's where we need to start. Because if you're going to sit on here, do you believe that the Bible is infallible? Because if you do, then you're in psychosis for believing that. Okay. And that's how you deal with someone trying to come in and, because I told you that these porsters and whatever, they're trying to go into like psychology and talk about emotional this and that, but they just don't understand what the hell they're talking about. Because until you can admit that book is infallible and has silenced the voices of women, and how can you authenticate Paul but you can't authenticate Mary Magdalene? I don't have time for it, babe. I'm not the blood clot one, chair. All right. So if people are showing 3 or plus of these items that are present, then it's time for them to get a professional assessment. All right. So severe sleep loss tied to church cult activity. So there could start to be new hallucinations, paranoia. So they might seem more paranoid, not able to sleep. So you might notice them, just walking around in the house or verbalizing that they haven't slept for 2 weeks or whatever. So take note of it, okay? Commanding voices, visions framed as God's spirit, as God or spirits or whatever. So sitting in their room, I personally think that tongued in the room for exasperated amounts of times is spiritual psychosis as well. If someone locks themselves in a room for 3 days and they're not eating or sleeping and you're just hearing Shabayasa Tayaga, Shibayasa, then I would say, yeah, that fits into that as well. Rigid, idiosyncratic grandiosity or perception or persecution narrative that others must accept. This is them. This is when they become born again. Do you get? This is what they're like. And then they say, no, you're just throwing it around. This is, guys, I think this is the awakening that we're coming to, that they're actually the ones that they've been saying everyone else is. Child, this awakening is serious. Listen, I'm just working out my own salvation with fear and trembling, chair. You see, these times that we're living in, it's a every man out for themselves. I'm telling you, bro. It's a every man out for themselves. Like, we don't know what the hell's gonna happen. Do you understand what I'm saying? Just make sure you know God for yourself. Not for a Porsche, not for it. Make sure you know God for your blood clot self, because the way the world's going, we don't know what's gonna happen. And they're stuck in these self-sealing systems. So tomorrow, if WW3 broke out, they wouldn't know what the hell to do. These people, and that's what happens, guys. It's sad, but unfortunately, that's the reality, chair. Oh, hey, Denny. That means every Christian business center, all the business Christian centers are cooked. That's what they say back in the day in Jamaica and Ireland. Them say dirty preachers. Papa Goose cooked. Oh, Dennis is so funny. Welcome, bro. It's good to see you on here. I only came on here, Dennis, because you made me feel bad in the comments. You were like, we need you on here. So I was like, all right, let me come back on. It's for you, Denny. So I'm happy to see you on here, my love. Guys, I keep losing where I'm at, chair, because I've got this little Android phone and it's so hard to, I think it's here. No. Okay. Induced belief, adopting leaders' exact delusion, and cutting off dissenting family or friends. So remember, these mogs and whatever, it's just delusion. So do you see here that they said induced belief? So it's adopting the leader's exact delusion. So that's why when you say anything against the mog or whatever, they start like they want to, unalive you, because it's like they're in an induced belief, adopting the leader's exact delusion mindset. All right. I just sent the live to my friend who was a victim of their cult. Oh, thanks, my love, because it will help. And also, I've got it recorded on YouTube and Instagram, so they can go on there and watch it afterwards. That's why I go on there, even if I don't have no people. Like on Instagram, I've got no one on there at the moment, but it's not about that, because later people can go and, watch the content and access it on many different platforms. So that's why I do it. Thank you, my love. I appreciate you. Financial, legal, parenting, or health impairment justified as obedience. So again, in these situations, guys, if you're seeing that they're giving all the money to the church cult, their fridge is empty, the kids are crying because they're hungry, and it's been justified as obedience to the Lord, they've got to sow this seed or whatever. You're getting those delusional rhetoric, Yeah, people are seeing it. Miss CHM, people are seeing it, chair. Trance possession episodes that are frightening, uncontrolled, or escalating. All right, so that's when you're seeing them. And sometimes the beginning of spiritual psychosis, it might start like that as well. You might notice that they're going into trance-like states, disassociation, sleeping less, not eating as much. You'll see change and you'll see strange behavior, and then it just starts to exasperate. But the thing is, with psychosis, it can go from 0 to 100. They can be talking really fast and making like continuous videos. Then all of a sudden they're walking on the M25, don't know where they are. Absolutely delirious. Yeah. They can just have a break-in. and a splitting in their personality. That's why all of these man them that I see shouting around in these streets and talking and whatever, you're just one step away from losing your damn mind. You can't even see it. I'm just sitting here waiting because a lot of these people that are out there, I can see that there's a lot of undiagnosed mental health issues share with a lot of these young, like these guys that are on here. All right. Language. So we're going to look at language that you can use when people try to dismiss you or try to, oh, you don't know what you're talking about, this, that, and the third. So guys, I am going to be editing the content of this later so that I can put it into, bite-sized content that is, oh, guys, I'm so tired. Bite-sized content that you can digest. All right. So language you can use when people try to dismiss you. We're not pathologizing religion. We're describing a state of impaired reality testing that can take religious form. That's standard psychiatry. Oh my God. Do you know what, guys? I feel like me and ChatGPT could take over the world. I feel like me and ChatGPT, we can win this war together. I love you. All right. DSM-5, which is the diagnostic manual chart for mental health, actually protects normal faith struggles with a dedicated religious or spiritual problem code so people aren't mislabeled. Okay, so they do take that into consideration, but unfortunately, because they're so wacky-backy, it's hard to tell when they're, in a religious psychotic state and just being around. All right. What we're talking about is different. Sleep deprivation, coercive control, and trance techniques used in our church are known to precipitate hallucinations and delusions. This isn't an attack on God. It's basic neuropsychology. Yeah. And it makes sense why they HATE knowledge, and it makes sense why they HATE a woman who's knowledgeable like myself and educated and independent and autonomous in her thinking. You get it now, isn't it, guys? Isn't it making sense how they label the Jezebels and the witches? Because we've always been a threat to them. We've always been a threat, so they've demonized it. And there's a collective that's waking up now and coming back. We're waking up now and we're remembering, unfortunately, for these malignant narcissists. Okay. All right. So I'm going to just give a little bit of, just where you can go if you're experiencing this, who you can reach out to, etc. So if this is happening to you right now, or you know anyone that's experiencing, hallucinations or is very paranoid or a risk to themselves or others, I would say seek emergency assessment and help, either from a GP, or you can actually present yourself at A&E as well, or present your family member at A&E. I have advised survivors that have been in critical psychosis based off the assessment on the phone with them and the parents. This is all the stuff I do behind the scenes. And they have taken them, presented them to A&E, and they have been sectioned. All right. So that's what I tell all the parents, all the family members. If the behavior is getting to a point where you're struggling to manage it in the house, like they're going off and walking off, like to M25, anything could happen to them. So they're now becoming a risk to themselves and others. Then just take them straight to A&E. I wouldn't even wait to speak to the GPs to get an appointment and all of that. Just take them in. You can call your local crisis team, or you can call just 999 as well. Or if it's less severe, you can call NHS 111, and they can help you find the right pathway. Okay, because sometimes you just need general safety guidance or a little bit of advice, not necessarily a diagnosis or an actual intervention, because the person presents that crisis need. Okay. I don't know why these people are trying me. They lied. They tried to. I was one of the most educated, if not the most educated members that they had in that cult. They were calling me to do absolutely everything. And now they wanted to turn around and drag my name through the mud. Oh my God. After everything I did for them people. All right. So guys, I think with this, I'm not going to say what the solid sources are, but I'm going to just say a few of them because no, actually I am going to say this because I want them to know Wagwan, babes. We're not just out here saying religious psychosis. So solid sources you can cite in your materials and for your own deconstruction and deprogramming guide. I am going out with a survivor shortly. So when I get in, guys, I will put this into a nicely packaged content as I do for y'all because I love you guys. Guys, do you know that content I make for you guys? It's like my present to you. It's like my heart. It's like, you know, when I put in the little stickers and stuff, it's like I imagine you guys laughing at that moment, or I imagine you guys, you know, going, oh my God, did she really just say that? And, you know, the little digs and the little things that I put in, it's all for you guys to make you guys laugh, to validate you, to make you feel empowered. Yeah. And to represent, just represent y'all. You get what I'm saying? Because they try to discard us and make us look crazy in these streets and talk about us ill will and ill intent. So it's just all about the representation, man. Like represent. You get it? All right, so the National Institute of Mental Health, they have core symptoms and mechanisms of psychosis and schizophrenia. They look at the DSM and APA diagnosis. So they look at the DSM and APA, the religious or spiritual problem category that distinguishes non-pathological faith distress from mental disorders. So again, there's other diagnostic tools that they use there to be able to differentiate between religious psychosis and just psychosis. So we've also got peer-reviewed articles and reviews on religious delusions and psychosis, and it explores how clinicians define between the difference and how they differ them from culturally shared beliefs. So that might be quite interesting for us guys to have a peer reviewing evening, to just look at peer-reviewed gold standard research. I will obviously look over it before and come with some sort of you know, kind of just I'll rustle something up, you know what I'm like, and then we can all share our thoughts and feelings, because I they need to know I'm not playing, because I'm an academic. Like, do not play with me outside in these streets. I'm not going to chat to you little girls. Do you believe in God? Do you? I see your comments. I see you, girl. I see you, girl. But I also see Lucia. You get me? Okay. So we've got systematic review. As you all know, my loves, I've actually been doing up a systematic review for a year. So that's all going to be coming out in January. So they're actually quoting systematic reviews, which I'm actually leading myself. So they've actually said here that systematic reviews, sleep deprivation can progress to hallucinations and delusions, useful when explaining all-night vigils, revivals as a risk factor. So there's systematic reviews that have been done in the cut about sleep deprivation, all right, and how it impacts on people's mental health and how it's a risk factor, okay, for exasperation of mental health, psychosis, and other mental personality disorders. All right, my love? Okay. Then we've got cross-cultural psychiatry review on dissociation, trance, and psychosis. And this is helpful for possession, deliverance context. So really breaking down, you know, this type of human fecal matter. You can look at psychiatry for that. All right, my loves. And then we've got, which one of my favorites, the International Cultic Studies Association on Undue Influence and Cultic Environment. So the well, I thought it was ICCA, but yeah, it looks like it's ICSA. Yeah, the International Cultic Studies. You can go on there. They've got loads of journals, peer-reviewed stuff, loads of good resources to help deconstruct and deprogram your mind, and actually hear from survivors that have experienced spiritual psychosis and made it out, and now they're, you know, sharing their experiences with people. Hi. Then we've got neurology. So we've got neurology literature linking temporal lobe processes to hyperreligiosity for medical differentials, often spiritualized by groups. Oh, guys, I've got to go. I forgot. Guys, I've got to go. I'll be back, okay? Sorry, what? Can you bear with me for 1 second, please, my love? Thank you.